Welcome to episode 3 of Face the Sky, and I want to drop something very quickly in your laps today, and that is the idea, that is a concept, that there is a gift in your pain. Many of us, we experience very excruciating and crushing episodes of pain in our lives, and some of us, we focus very quickly on overcoming that pain as soon as possible. But if we could simply sit sometimes and meditate while we're in our times of pain and suffering and hurt, we can find something that is of benefit to our lives. If we can sit sometimes and meditate on why we're experiencing the pain, the context of the pain, whether it's relationally, whether it's socially, whether it's financially, or even your health, there is something to be learned from an episode of pain. There is something to be learned from a breakup. There is something to be learned from injury, even a physical injury. You take that time to reflect on what you were doing during that time of injury, and thereby improve the way you interact with the world. You see, we watch children growing up, and there are some things we tell them very clearly. Scotty, don't do this, or Mary, don't do that. But for some children, the best way for them to learn it is to undergo some excruciating pain to understand never to do it again. For you see, they can see a flame and understand the flame looks pretty. It's orange and it has blue, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a new element they haven't discovered before. And mommy will tell them, hey, don't touch that flame. Don't touch it. Don't go near it. Don't do it without me beside you. Don't hover your hand above it. Don't go near that flame. But you see, Scotty may be the type of person that needs to understand the lesson by exposition and through an episode of pain. And that is, Scotty must first be burned. Now, this lesson won't mean anything to Scotty if he doesn't internalize the context of his pain. Okay, why am I hurting? Okay, I'm burned. Why am I burned? Okay, what did I do to get burned? You see, this is how we learn from our experiences. We reflect. We have times of introspection, looking into why certain things happened and what we can do better in the next round. When you experience pain, and I am no stranger to pain, I'm no stranger to loss, I'm no stranger to feelings of abandonment. There's a certain type of feeling of loneliness when you're in a time of suffering. You feel perhaps that you're the only one experiencing it, and that can have a toll on your mind. But my suggestion to you is that while you're in your episode of pain, you may be in an episode of pain right now, but you've got to be able to reflect on the pain that you're feeling. Why is it there? Can you explain it? Is there something that you can learn? There's a pearl, a nugget of understanding, a nugget of enlightenment that is embedded in your episode of pain. We must not so quickly seek to overcome pain without first grabbing something of value from the experience. Many of us, we were told not to do certain things. We were told not to go certain places, but our lessons, the forming of our maturity was orchestrated by our experiences of pain. You see, pain is not to be feared. It is not an entity that is to be feared. There's great gain in your pain. There's a pearl, a nugget of understanding that if you can reflect right now, we all have had some episode of pain. And if we could reflect on our lives today and to examine ourselves and to look at what is going on, the context of our lives, what is happening in our lives today. For many, during this recording, many are losing their jobs. Many are struggling to find ways to keep food on the table, of course, because we're in the midst of a pandemic. And sometimes when you think of a job, for many people, it is closely tied to their self-esteem. If someone's not working, they feel less about themselves. If they're not productive day by day, they feel less confident in their identity. Perhaps they feel useless. And that can create great pain internally. Perhaps a lesson to be learned in this case, and I don't want to speak ignorantly about this, is that perhaps this is an opportunity for one to think about creating multiple streams of income in their lives. I've always said that this pandemic will put some people in the dirt if they don't respond to it correctly, but there are some who will be elevated as a result of this pandemic. And when I say elevated, I mean people will be able to learn certain things. They'll become better prepared. They'll be better at stocking their pantries and their fridges. They'll be better at making sure that they have reserves in case something as shocking as losing your job happens in a short amount of time. You see, there are many who will have an opportunity to learn from this pain. Yes, many will lose their jobs, but this will be an opportunity for them to reflect and begin to diversify their streams of income. When you lose a friend abandoned you, or you suffer an immense breakup, and it's time to reflect on what qualities you look for in a person. What indicators could you find what indicators could you look for rather that would give you a sense of whether or not you like someone? Now, we don't want to apply templates to people, but what I'm trying to get you to do is to think critically about the things that you're going through. There's always some nugget of truth, nugget of understanding that you can gain from the pain that you're experiencing today. In times of agony, we can be so filled with emotions, and we can make decisions out of our emotions. And I advise you not to make decisions out of raw emotion, because many times we end up regretting them. But what I want to say to you today is not to waste the great agony. Do not waste the great agony of pain. Now, I want you to think about that. There's agony in loss, agony in breakups, agony of losing a job, agony that can, for some, could last for months. And for those who do heal, there's a trauma that sits in the back of their minds, a lingering fear that they could experience that same agony again. But what I want you to understand is not to waste the great agony of pain. In your pain, in your agony, is enlightenment. In your agony, there is revelation, there is understanding. We all know what it means to suffer. We all know what it means to be alone. But what I want you to do in this time of uncertainty is to understand that there is a nugget of truth, something that can improve your life. Many of us, we're looking for answers in this life, but you would be very surprised that many of life's answers can be found in loss, can be found in pain. I don't want you to get to the point where you are so depressed and so upset at your existence, and you begin to question whether or not you belong on this earth. But what I want you to do is to use the very different experiences of pain that you may be feeling right now. Yes, you want a tangible solution. You need solutions now. Yes, absolutely. But we've got to understand that some of life's solutions may not come in a linear fashion. They may come laterally. They may come from the left, from the right. They may come from below. But you've got to understand that this life isn't as linear as you think. And many of the answers can be initiated by your recognition of some nugget of truth that is within your pain. You have got to get into the habit of reflecting in your times of pain. Where did I go wrong? What happened here? What can I learn from this experience? How can I enhance my life moving forward from this pain? There is a gift in your pain, and I want you to begin to think like there is a gift in your pain. Approach pain in such a manner. What can I learn from this? Yes, this is going to hurt, but what can I learn from this pain? How can I better my life? How can I improve the lives of those around me? How can I positively affect people based on what I learn in this episode of pain? How can I but how can I give someone else that has not experienced what I've experienced? How can I give them the tools to be able to mitigate the pain that they may feel? All right? How can I do a transfer that will help someone in their time of need, or in their impending time of need. Again, this is a short episode, but I just wanted to have you think very closely about what you're going through, what you're experiencing, and how you can use the agony that you find yourself in to better yourself. Do not despise your pain. Do not hate it. It's there. It is a reality that you're dealing with. You're not supposed to be in that pit forever. You're not supposed to be in that cave forever, but you want to reflect very closely, some deliberate introspection on why you're there, what happened, what went wrong, what went right. Many of us, we have a tendency to reflect on all things that happened wrong, but never the things that went right. Think about the things that did go right. Were you faithful? Did you keep your word? Were you hurt because someone else hurt you? Absolutely. There are times, there are things that are just not your fault, right? But you cannot get in the mindset that this person got me here and this person. You cannot live in a place of victimhood. Your introspection, when you reflect on your pain, should not be a blame game. You ought not look on your pain as an avenue for blaming others for your distress. Be responsible for your own decisions. Be responsible for what you have experienced. Be responsible for what you're experiencing, and understand that you have the power to appropriate the pain that you're feeling as an instrument of improvement for your life. Do not allow your agony to cause you to blame others for your dilemma. Do not live with a victim mentality. Take control of your life. Stop handing it off to others because things didn't go right. Again, this is the Face the Sky podcast. And again, I want to remind you that there is a gift in your pain. Pain is a gift if we can use it correctly. Thank you and take care. Bye.